And I can back on this. Oh, thank you, Tim. Let me start over real quick, gang. Thank you. I had a little crazy thing happen this morning. I think it's thrown me off kilter, but I'm back. So hey, Monday morning. Good morning. How's everybody doing? As always, like I said, man, I don't know how long we've been doing this now, but I remember how nervous I was the first couple months because I kept trying to have questions near me, listening to them, trying to get prepared. And all of a sudden, I'm like, what am I doing? Like any one of us, I'm just getting ready to try. Now I know Tim pretty good, but I want to get to know him at a deeper level. But today, this is a little different. We wanted Tim to come on here because some of you guys have seen this, some of this is new to you. But when it comes to revenue share attraction, the number one thing you do first is you build a list. And the bigger the list, the higher your confidence. And just real quick before I read his bio, what I mean by that is if so many people start and immediately they come up with four, five, six, whatever, seven, eight, maybe people in their mind. Oh my gosh, man, if I could just get Bill Rawhauser to join me. And they're so dialed in on these six, seven, eight agents, and they never make a list. They're just going, I'm just going to get my one, two, or three best buddies to come over. And they go through that. And if it doesn't work, which a lot of times it may not, right? They don't move immediately anyway. But anyway, if that happens in six, seven, eight, let's say they don't move forward or one does and does no attraction, and you spend all this time doing it, your mindset could be, oh my gosh, dude, this just isn't worth it. And you've lost your confidence because you went through your six, seven, eight main people, nothing happened. Versus make a big old list like Tim's going to talk about. And I got 200 plus names. I go through the first six or seven and they don't join. Are you kidding me? I got 194 contacts. And all I've been told is if I have conversations, I'm probably going to have a minimum of 10% of these people that have a conversation watch the presentation and they're going to end up joining. So I'm going to have Tim help us create a big list. But here is his bio, guys. I'm so impressed with Tim. I've said this to him over and over and over. One, he's a very detail oriented person, but he's also a very high D, very, very driven. Incredible combination for anybody in business to be analytical and detailed and be a high speed runner. And that is Tim. So, guys, pay attention. This guy's got a lot of incredible nuggets, but here's his background. Tim has been around the real estate since he was old enough to walk job sites with his father, who was a retired architectural draftsman. He began his career selling real estate in '02 when he joined an ERA franchise. He was there for 8 years until 2010 when he joined the Remax family at Remax Real Estate Center. In 2011, Tim bought his own Remax franchise, named it Remax Champions, where he grew it to over 30 agents. Remax Champions was the third largest producing Remax office in the Louisville area. Tim also oversees his team, the Hollinden team, which was consistently in the top three Remax teams in Louisville, Kentucky. And in 2017, he was the fifth largest team in all of Kentucky and Tennessee. Tim was a Diamond Club winner at Remax over the last 5 years. He was there, which is Remax's highest honor bestowed, recognizing commissions earned in excess of $1 million in a single year and achievements providing exceptional client service. Tim sold his Remax franchise and later left Remax for eXp Realty in March of 2018, where he continues to lead his team and helps the people in his organization, which is now nearly 300 agents in his business across the United States and could be other countries. Tim reaches his commission cap each year with eXp and is the recipient of eXp's prestigious Icon Award 3 years in a row as well. He lives in Prospect, Kentucky with his wife, Angie, who is also a licensed agent, helps him build the business. They have two adult children, TJ and Tara, both successful realtors in the Hollinden team. When Tim is relaxing, it's poolside with his three grandsons, two granddaughters, and the rest of his family at his home in Prospect or at his second home in Gulf Shores, Alabama. Tim also loves to play golf and do pretty much anything outdoors. And he does a ton of volunteer work, you guys. I didn't know this, Tim. This is impressive. I won't read them all. But Tim has volunteered his time for over 8 years at the Greater Louisville Association of Realtors with a history of serving on the following committees, guys, and he's got about 7 or 8 different committees. So the guy gives back in a big way, pours into our team, pours into the Freedom team, and he's kind of our IT technical person also. So I know he's had a lot to do with helping us put systems and tools together. So Tim, forever grateful, bro. And I know he's helped me with multiple agents that I brought on board where Tim's had a lot to do with that. So again, just hats off to you, man, and appreciate how you pour into our team and all of us, man. So thank you. So why don't we start here, Tim? I know this is all about coming up, building your list, but anything else you want to share with the team, or I'm just going to let you kind of take over and where you want to go with this, because a little bit different twist, but I'm excited for this, Tim. Thank you, brother.
Yeah. First of all, thank you, Sean. It's always my pleasure to be here. I do love to serve. I love to serve all of you people. Please turn your camera on if you can. I want this to be interactive. And in fact, the content will probably only take 15, 20 minutes, but I want it to be interactive. I want to see your faces. I want to see your expressions. I want to role play with you if you'd like to role play. Just let's get it. But like Sean had alluded to, what Eric Golden teaches is LISA, the acronym LISA. Make a list. That's the L. Invite. That's the IS. Show a presentation or a video of some sort. And then A, answer questions. So we're only going to talk about the L today. And I've done this presentation 2 other times. So might be boring for some of you. I always try to add a few additional nuggets, but I also think it's good to go back and review, because I would wager not a single one of us on this call this morning are doing all 7 of these things consistently. And if you start with this, and I'm going to put them in the order that I recommend you do them in, I think you will be off to a start. It is December the 9th, 2024. We are in the midst of recruiting season, gang. I mean, there is no better market ever to recruit in than right now. Agents are struggling. They're wondering if they should be in the business or not. They're wondering if they're with the right brokerage. They're wondering if they have the right tools, the right training, the right support system, the right mentors. Guys and gals, we have it all. And all we've got to do, and I want you to think about this in every call that you make, it's only about making a relationship. Everything else will fall in place. If you focus on a relationship with the person you're calling and make that your goal, recruiting/attraction becomes easy. Because as we all say on many of our trainings, we're only looking for the ones that are looking for us. I firmly believe, and Sean alluded to this as well, if you have 10 conversations a day, one of them is going to be willing to look. And that's conservative. I really believe it's 25%, 2.5 should look. And 2.5 of those, or excuse me, 25% of those 2.5 should join. So just do the numbers. 5 attraction conversations per day is 13 conversations in a year. That's 130 people that are going to look. And what's the math on the next one? I don't remember. We just talked about it Friday, and I forget what it is. 130 times 0.25. Yeah. For some reason, I've got lots of. Go ahead, Bill. What's the answer? Unmute yourself.
About 41 or so. I have no voice too, so I apologize.
Yeah, so it's about numbers. I mean, we say this isn't sales, but it's sales. This is a numbers game. If you want to grow your organization fast, get on the phone and call people and focus on a relationship. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put the title of the today, 7 lists to recruit agents from. That's in the chat box. And I'm going to list all 7 for you as we talk about them. So copy those, paste them over in your own document, and you'll have a great outline for today's call. So anything else Sean, anything you want me to cover before I dive into the 7 lists to recruit from? You're muted.
I think once you go through the list, I think that's going to spawn off all the questions and dialogue. So let's get rolling. Okay.
And are you able to be on the entire call today?
Yes, sir.
Okay. If you'll watch do me the favor, watch the questions. Yeah. And what I'd like to do is stop me and have that person turn their mic on and ask that question. And let's just get as much interaction as we can out of today's call. So we ready? All right. Awesome. Let's roll. This works. I'm just going to copy and paste as we go here. Here's number 1. Your pending deals with current co-op agents. Now, I'm not going to suggest we talk to the agent you're negotiating a deal with. We're somewhat adversarial, if you will. I'm representing my client's position. The other agent's representing theirs. But right when the closing gets scheduled, let's say it's 2-3 days out, you want to get on the phone. And if you enjoyed the experience with this agent, I would do this. If you didn't, or you didn't think they were a real good agent or whatever, I want you to be able to be genuine. Then don't worry about it. But the agents you really like and thought they did a good job with their client, say, hey, Kristen, you and I are getting ready to close this deal on Friday at 10 o'clock. I would love to just get together with you briefly after lunch and just celebrate getting this thing to the closing line, because it's had its bumps in the road, and you manage through that professionally. You know, a lot of agents I have deals with, they're nasty, they're arrogant, they're vindictive, they're just pounding their chest over their client's position, and they make it personal between me and them. And it doesn't have to be that way. It shouldn't be that way, in my opinion. So the agents that are anything but that, go after them, say, hey, let's just celebrate getting this deal. I'd love to just get to know you better, and let's go to lunch, or, you know, if it's a 3 o'clock closing, let's go grab a cocktail after done and just celebrate getting this thing to the closing table. And most of those agents are going to take you up on that, because I've found realtors like to drink and they like to eat. And if it's free, that's even better. But now you might be thinking, well, you're going to talk about eXp when you get together with them, and you're not. Remember, I said it's about the R word, relationship. You're going to build a relationship with that agent. So you're at lunch or over a cocktail and say, all right, Kristen, you know, it was really great working with you. As I said, you know, you kept it professional every step of the way. We've finished the closing now. We both are going to get paid today or tomorrow. And I just wanted to get to know you better and learn a little bit about yourself. So tell me about yourself. Remember Gene Frederick's TMAY, tell me about yourself. That is the one question you want to ask every agent the first time you get together with them. I don't care if it's on a Zoom or a phone call or a face-to-face over this cocktail. Tell me about yourself, because people like to talk about themselves, and you're going to learn a lot by listening. What I want you to learn is what's their biggest pain point and what's their biggest success. You know, they're going to tell you, you know, what do you mean? Tell me about, well, tell me about your real estate career. What have you been doing? Where have you been? What kind of volume are you doing? You know, all those questions, and just keep probing. And they're going to cannibalize the entire conversation. And we're not going to talk about eXp, but I guarantee you they're going to ask you about eXp. When they get done, they're almost going to feel guilty that they've talked for so long. And then they're going to say, well, tell me about yourself. And you can tell them about yourself, but I don't want you to talking about eXp. You can say, yeah, I moved to eXp X years ago, and it's been an amazing company. But, you know, we're not here to talk about that. So you're really going to downplay it. And what you're going to do is just really focus on being their friend. And this might sound silly. And those of you that are like me that are high D, you know, you want to get there quicker and get them recruited, right? No, you don't want to do that. But what you do want to do is a few days later, a week or two later, you want to call them back and say, you know, Kristen, first of all, thank you for having that lunch with me. I really enjoyed getting to know you. And, you know, you say, I was thinking about our conversation after we left that day, and you mentioned da 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 da. And I don't know if you've ever been, or if you know this or not, but eXp actually has a solution for that. And I'm not going to try to recruit you, but I would love to just show you how eXp addresses the issue that you told me that you had. Would you be open to getting back together or jumping on a Zoom for 15 minutes and just watching a short video to find out why 90,000 agents have come to this company over the last few years? And then you start with kind of where Eric starts. And that's basically what I just said. And one thing you'll learn if you're a consistent follower of these Monday attraction meetings, everybody does things slightly different. Everybody does basically the same thing, but everybody's slightly different. And it's those little nuances I hope you gather out of our conversation today. So number one was your pending deals with current agents you're cooperating with. Any questions on that? And Sean, again, interrupt me if somebody has a question. I want them to fire up their mic and ask it right away. Go ahead.
You just ask a weird question. I've never had this happen. I can't mute anybody. I don't have access to see what. And Bill, I was trying to give you access, and I'm sorry. I don't even know if people are trying to come in. Something happened where I can't mute people or anything.
I just made you co-host, I believe. There you go.
Well, that's weird. I can't say. Yep. I think that did it. I did it. Thank you.
Okay,
sorry about
cool.
that. My question I wanted to ask, though, when I'm thinking of someone like Justin, people have been doing this that have hundreds and hundreds of past transactions. Would anything change for like Justin calling somebody he did deal with 2 years ago at 123 Main? Would that change at all?
Hold that question, because that's number two.
Okay. Sorry, brother. Go ahead.
That's all right. Anybody else have questions on number one? All right. Number two, going in the chat box now. Your closed deals with past cooperating agents. And that conversation is similar. Although you don't have the opportunity to have an excuse to take them out to lunch and get to know them better, let's say, I mean, you could still do that, obviously. They're probably going to be less apt to say yes in this case. But in the way you make this list, obviously the first one wasn't really a list. It's just every time you're getting ready to have a closing, invite that person. Okay. This list is everybody that you've had a closing with in the past. And I don't care if it was 10 years ago. They know you. You know them. And you can go in your MLS more than likely and ask to print a list of every deal I've ever done showing the cooperating side as well. So that's that list. It's made for you. Just get it out of your MLS and start dialing. And that conversation is very similar. It's hey, Sean, you and I did this deal. Yeah, I know it's been a while, and it's a shame. I wish we could do more deals together because I really enjoyed working with you. But I don't know if you're aware of this or not, but I came to eXp 7 years ago, and I think we did that deal when I was still with Remax. But man, eXp's changed my life. I'm not trying to recruit you, man, but I would love to just show you because I almost consider myself that I would do you a disservice by not having this conversation. This company has been so amazing to me and my family, and I just like for you to see why 90,000 agents have joined over the last few years. Would you be open-minded to just spending 15 minutes with me? I don't care if we meet for coffee or meet over Zoom or what have you. I just love to show it to you, and you'll see why 90,000 people have joined. And again, no recruiting call. I know you're super happy at Coldwell Banker, but again, I think I'd be doing you a disservice by not showing you this, because the last thing I want you to do is come back to me in 2 or 3 years and say, why the hell didn't you ever tell me eXp was so amazing, Tim? And people have said that. So that's really number two. Close deals with your past cooperating agents. Everybody getting the feel for this? It's all about you. It's about our relationship. I just want to give. I want to give. I want to help. It's changed my life. It might change yours, but again, no pressure. I always say that. And the more I say that, I feel like it downplays the fact that, oh, I'm being recruited. No, man, I don't care if you ever come to eXp because it's got to be right for you. And neither one of us know right now whether it is or isn't. And you won't know until you watch the video, because you've probably heard eXp is just another real estate company, another franchise. Well, we're not a franchise at all. And now, if I start down that path, I just stop because you're talking too much if you start getting into those details. I just want you to spend 15 minutes with me if you're open-minded enough to do that, and I'll show you. Because I'll tell you, man, I was never leaving Remax. I mean, I was super happy. I was number one or number two, number three in the market every single year, year after year, made $1 million a year. And at eXp, I'm just showing other agents how they can do that too. And that's been life-changing. And more importantly, it warms my heart to be able to give to people like the eXp family gives to one another. And they do that because we're agent owned. You see, when I help an agent, the agent wins, eXp wins. And because we're a publicly traded agent owned company, that all the agents win when we help one another. So that's our culture. So what's good for you? Tuesday at 10, or would Friday at 3:30 be better? Okay. Questions? Quiet audience today.
Tim, I was just thinking through when you are saying, I'm not trying to recruit you, but I want to tell you about it. What experience have you had with individuals having that two different statements that seem to cross over?
I'm not sure I follow you, Scott.
May I throw this in, Scott, real quick, and Tim? Because I don't know where he was going. This is from Eric again, and we've all been using it. Say, end it with, listen, I'm definitely not here to try to recruit you, but I thought somebody of your caliber and your production would want to know why 100,000 other agents have moved over to eXp. Again, I'm not trying to move you over, but I thought you'd want to know is, can we have some time Tuesday or Thursday morning? So go back to, you thought because of the caliber person they are, they would want to know why 100,000 agents have moved over here. That kind of, does that help a little bit?
That clears it up. I appreciate it.
Yep, absolutely. Thanks for that ad, Sean. Nice assist, brother. Who else has a question?
Just this is a confirmation. So the first one, we're being friends with the agent that we just closed the transaction with, but the past agent, we're getting right to why we're talking to them, why we call them, is for them to see if they open to seeing what we're doing, so to speak.
You're exactly right. We're not talking about eXp in the coffee meeting or the lunch, but this approach with the people we haven't talked to in a while, we certainly are. I believe it's less bait and switch feeling if you say, listen, Melvin, the reason I called you today, and like Sean was saying, I was looking at your production last year, man, and 2024 has been a tough year for all of us, right? And you managed to seem to do a consistent 8 million like you've done in the past. And I don't know if that's right or wrong. It's probably light because a lot of deals don't get posted on the MLS, but man, kudos to you. And then the reason I called, Melvin, is I don't know if you know this or not, but I've been at eXp for 7 years and it's simply been life-changing. I would love to show you. And first of all, I want you to take this call as a compliment. I'm not trying to recruit you, but I want you to see why 90,000 people have come to eXp over the last few years. And it may or may not be right for you. I don't care if it is one way or the other. I just would feel remiss if I didn't at least show it to you and you to learn why 90,000 realtors would do anything. Are you open either Tuesday morning or Thursday morning at about 9:30, 10 o'clock to just simply be educated? No pressure, no hard sell. We're not even going to talk about you coming to eXp. But if something strikes a nerve with you, we'll go that direction. If it doesn't, we will have been able to catch up. Hopefully we'll deal another cross sale again. We'll continue to be friends and go our separate ways and continue to support one another in our market.
Excellent. Okay.
That sort of flavor.
Can I throw one more tidbit that just hit me, Tim?
Please.
Well, that first of all, that you can just tell you've done that so much it just flows. One other thing that just kind of hit me when you said that. Sorry guys, I got 3 texts going in the back. It was a good nugget too, darn it. I'll come back, Tim. I'm so sorry, man.
That's
What's
okay.
going on with I've got texts going on because of what happened this morning. Sorry about that. I'll hit you in a minute. Come on.
Okay, cool.
Sorry.
Anybody else have a quick question? All right, number 3. And sorry, number 2 said number 1. I don't know. I copied and pasted it. I don't know why I put a 1 there, but 3 is the other agents in your MLS you haven't done a deal with, but you know them or you think they know you. These are people whose names are very familiar, really good agents in your market, but you've never had the opportunity to do a cross sale with them. You see how I'm prioritizing this? 1 is the agents you're dealing with right now. 2 are the agents you've dealt with in the past. 3 is the agents that you know or you think they know you, but you've not done a cross sale with them. Because if you've done a cross sale with them, you would have called them on number 2. So these are the agents that you know or you think they know you. And those are similar calls. Hey, Kimberly, Tim Hollinden, eXp, I know you know who I am. I know who you are. Man, you're crushing it. And don't say that unless they really are. If they haven't crushed it, then say something else about them. And I love that new listing you listed last week. Tell me a little bit about that. Blah, blah, blah. Listen, the reason I called Kimberly is, and then it's the same speech. You can tailor that a little bit. We've not had the opportunity to do a cross sale together, I don't think. And at least not in my old man memory. I can't remember a time we've ever done it, and then just go right into it. I like, and that high D that Sean talked about, I like to be very direct. I don't care to beat around the bush. I like to get to, listen, the reason I called, and I hope you'll take this as a compliment, so I really respect the amount of business you're doing on a regular basis. And I thought it might behoove you to just learn why 90,000 agents have come to eXp over the last few years. And I'm not going to keep repeating the same thing over and over, but it's basically the same kind of script. I'll say the same thing 20 different ways. And when you do this 20, 30, 40 times, you'll be doing the same thing. You won't always say the exact same thing to different people. You're going to modify it some, and that helps. Sean, go ahead.
So it hit me again when you're talking to that agent. If for some reason there's a little bit of pushback, we're looking for the one looking for us, but you just made me think if there's any pushback, you might also just add one little line. And this is where, again, stories, and I keep listening to Tim, facts tell, stories sell. All of a sudden you just try to set that appointment. They're kind of a little bit of him-hawing. Well, Tim, the other reason I was really reaching out, man, there is another agent. So if they're at a KW, a Remax, an independent, wherever, have a story in the back that go, the other reason made me reach out to you is I have another agent friend of mine who was at Remax, just like you, or KW, wherever they're at. They were doing similar volume. Oh my gosh, they've been here for 2 years. Unreal what's taking place with their production and going on. So I was just thinking about you and thought, man, if you could connect and understand why that agent came, I thought it really might connect with you. It might just be another way to drop a third-party testimony of somebody with a similar background that has come over and having results. That's all I was trying to get across, if there was any pushback.
Yep, absolutely. And if they push back, move on. A no is okay. You're that much closer to a yes, right? That's what they teach us in selling. Just move on. No sense dealing with that negativity. If you get pushed back and you have a rebuttal like Sean and they're still pushing back, say, okay, that's cool. I just thought you might be interested why 90,000 agents have done anything in our market. Any other questions on 1, 2, or 3? 4 should be obvious by now. It's everybody else. Bill Roushauser, how many agents in your MLS?
Probably 300, 400, 300. It's pretty big.
300, 400,000?
No, in my MLS.
Yeah, your whole MLS.
Not very big. My MLS is probably 500, 550 is all.
Okay, well, that's a small MLS by most standards, and that's okay. You now have a 550 person list. Again, go to your MLS, guys and gals, download the whole list, earmark the ones you've done a sale with, earmark the ones you know, and now we're on to everybody else. Every other agent in your MLS. This is somebody you don't know or you don't think they know you. That was number 3. And call the rest. And you know, we've learned over the years, you know, and 7 years ago, almost 7 years, I'll be here 7 years, April 1st. I would recruit anybody that had a warm breath. And I don't think that's good for them. I don't think it's good for me, because I heard a stat the other day, and I hope I get this right, but I think what I heard is 92% of the agents that left eXp in 2024 never had a sale. And some of those were mine. Some of those were agents that didn't know how to sell, didn't plug in, were unwilling to learn. They were doing something else. Real estate was part-time, and there's nothing against a part-time agent. I started that way myself. But what I'm getting to here is the point, you know, go ahead and look at people about 2 million and above. When you see that list, if you can put it in an Excel sheet or whatever your favorite spreadsheet is and sort that thing by their volume, your MLS should have that data as well. Focus on those people 2 million and above. I normally say 3, but a lot of people had a bad year last year and they need a reason to get back where they were. And eXp's training, plugging into Freedom Team trainings, all of our masterminds, our trainings 4 days a week, are reasons to talk to them about their business. So, and that'll separate, because I'll just tell you quite honestly, because I've experienced this personally, it's very frustrating to be so successful recruiting. I mean, honestly, guys, I've recruited over 80 agents to eXp personally on my front line. But today I have 27, 53 left. And all but about 2 of those people never sold anything or sold very, very little, not even practicing real estate anymore. So it's very frustrating. It sucks the life out of you when, oh my gosh, I just lost another one. Oh, hell, they haven't sold anything. No wonder. They shouldn't be here. I never should have recruited them. Maybe I did them a disservice. Maybe they needed to be in a 50-50 brokerage where they had, all kinds of training every hour. And not that we don't, because we certainly do, that you can plug into over 80 hours a week. But focus on those agents that are doing real estate, and you'll be less upset down the road when that agent that never sells anything leaves you, because it's emotionally taxing, I promise you. Any questions there? Now we're going to change it up slightly. What questions first, though?
I guess I'll throw a tidbit in on the everybody else. I just put a link in there right there. I grabbed this from another alpha who has 3,000 agents on their team in 4.5 years, Eric Orland. He says, once you create that list, now this is for the everybody list, right? Then sort them from a scale of 1 to 10 in those 2 categories, and I put them in there, right? Which ones have the most influence, with 10 being the highest? And then which ones do you have the best relationship with 10 being the highest? Once you've ranked them all, then categorize them with the 2 highest numbers. I got a 10 and an 8. I got a 10 and a 7. I got a 9 and an 8, and call those first, right? Best relationship and most influence. Because if you bring somebody over like a Tim, right, who has incredible influence, Tim brought a bunch of people in right out of the gate. So did Jeff Morrell. So did Kathy Carter. When you find somebody who has influence, been in real estate a long time, and they do catch the fire, that's also going to make it easier. I just want to throw that tidbit in. Once you make that everybody list, I thought that was pretty awesome when Eric trained on that Orland a few months ago to break that list.
Absolutely. Again, thanks for the ad. And Eric also says, don't even put them in your CRM until you've determined they're worthy of going into the CRM. So keep them on that Excel sheet when you're making your calls. When they're worthy, Then put them on your CRM so you can drip on them, follow up with them regularly. Otherwise, don't waste your time on them. That list becomes voluminous and overwhelming, and you don't want 80% of those people on your list to start with. But so again, Sean, thank you. Excellent ad. Who else has a question? Anybody getting anything out of this at all?
Let me ask Justin, who is seeing this really for the first, wanting to really start building. Justin, is this kind of making you go, man, I could come up with a huge list? What's this doing for you real quick?
Yeah, I mean, the few people I've recruited, I mean, it's been because we were in deals together. And I'm now that's got me wanting to play around in my multiple listing system and see how many agents are in there and try to look at data, because I literally just go in there to search for houses. I don't even look at any of the other stuff that they perform. So it's going to be good to have some screen time on what I can access in my multiple listing system.
Awesome.
Yeah. Because like
there's a lot of gold there.
Yeah. Just to add that thing there, Justin, just, you know, he said 2 million, and I'd think that should be a minimum number. Every agent, if you're going to spend time doing it, 2 million or greater. You might even want to go 2.5 or greater, right? If they get up to 3 million or greater, you know they're going to probably cap when they come. But we always say it's not much different to recruit a brand new agent out of school versus a 3 to 4 year agent at 3 to 4 million. It's about the same. You might as well talk to nothing but producing agents.
Absolutely. And I'm gonna divert for just a moment. I'm gonna give a plug for a training I think we're gonna have on January 13th. And I'm not gonna spill the beans. I'm not gonna tell you the name of the company or anything like that. But we have access to a system, and it's gonna cost money to join it. Not that we get, but that the firm gets. But this system is going to allow you to go into your MLS and find agents whose volume is down last year over the prior year, and literally through AI, give you a list of who's most likely to make a move. So we're going to be able to prioritize this list even greater than we're able to do it in these 7 steps I'm giving you today. So imagine adding the AI element. Thank you for that, Toy. Imagine the AI element to this and make your calls more productive because they're the most likely to make a move. So that I'll just throw that out there. Pencil your calendar, January 13th, which is probably 3-4 weeks from today, something like that.
Yeah.
And just make a note of that, and please try to make that. And obviously we're going to be posting about it ahead of time, and you'll know the name and the company name, all that in advance. But that I think is going to be huge. Sean, myself, Eric, Kathy, Jeff, all of us are getting ready to sign up with these people. So we're going to have some more information firsthand by the time they come to us. But everybody that I know that has been using this system is really enjoying it. So sorry for the tease, but not sorry for the tease. Number 5, agents you know anywhere in the world where eXp does business. So we've dealt with our local market. Now let's expand. You've practiced. You've made a lot of calls, especially on number 4. You made a ton of calls that over 2 million or over 3 million, whatever you want to do. You're pretty good at this by now. So start reaching out to every single agent you know anywhere in the world, anywhere in the 27 countries and provinces that eXp does business. The script is basically the same. You're calling them like an agent that you know in your market, with one exception. And I said anywhere, anybody anywhere in the world that we do business that you know, hopefully they know you. If not, it's going to be a little bit more introductory. And that call might go like, hey, Kathy, Tim Hollinden in Louisville, Kentucky. Hope you've been well. I was looking at your website, and golly, you've got a lot of listings, and looks like you've done pretty well this year in spite of the market that we're in. Is that the case? And again, be friendly. Listen, I hope you'll take this call as a compliment, but I'm reaching out to agents that have done a significant amount of business, and that's certainly you. I don't know if you know this or not, but I moved to eXp 7 years ago, and it's been a life-changing experience for me. And again, I hope this is complimentary to you. I'm not trying to recruit you today. I know you're probably super happy at KW, or you wouldn't still be there, but I'm just curious, has anyone shown you the eXp 2025 presentation and personalized it for you? See, now I'm saying the same thing a little bit differently, and you're going to get all these little phrases after you do this a bunch, and no 2 calls will be exactly the same. So again, you're going to warm up to them, and I'd love to just take 15 minutes of your time. Let's jump on a Zoom Tuesday at 3 or Friday at 10 a.m., which is better for you. I just want to show you why 90,000 agents have come to eXp. And, you know, I'm not going to try to recruit you. I'll certainly answer your questions. If you like what you see, great. We'll dive deeper. If not, that's totally fine too. Maybe we can, worst case, end up being referral partners. So that's everybody else. So there's no excuse not to have a list of at least 100, right? With the exception of Bill, everybody's got 100 people in their MLS. So it's easy to make that list. So that's number 5. What questions do you have on that? Anybody want to role play that, or any questions about it?
I got kicked off my internet for a second. Could you mind posting that in there again? I apologize.
Number 5?
Yes, please.
Okay, sure will.
Yeah.
Already queued up 6, so let me go back and grab 5 again.
I mean, what a great time, guys, if you wanted to role play with Tim, just to try to do that yourself, or have Tim act like he's calling you again. And if you've got, if your mind is a little nervous about making that outbound call because you're afraid of what somebody might say, call Tim and you be the one who's going to say what you think that agent's going to say, and hear what Tim says. Tim has got, like he said, it's that same delivery, but just tweaks it according to who he's calling. But if anybody want to do that at all, I would think that'd be helpful. But it takes,
nobody's brave.
I was going to say, it takes.
It's a sad day. All right. Well, we'll do some of that in the end. Number 6. These are the agents, all the people that you know who aren't agents. Guys, this is your contact list in your phone. People that are not in your city, because you've already contacted all the realtors you know, or you thought knew you, or you've done a deal with. These are people outside your market. These are your friends and your family members, your contacts, people you've met at conferences. Go through your phone. Do the A's and B's and C's one day, the D's and E's and F's another day, et cetera, et cetera. This is what Sean did, and he contacted his friend, Jay Nelson, that he knew in a prior life and a prior business. Jay Nelson now represents the majority of Sean's organization at eXp. So these are your family members, and we're going to text them. Let's play for that for a minute. Scott, I'll reach out to my, I'm going to say Uncle Scott, because you're way older than me, right? Not. So that text is, hey, Scott, Tim Hollinden, hope you've been well, man. I can't believe it's been 2 years since our last family reunion. Listen, I'm starting to grow my real estate business across the country, and I need a great agent in San Antonio. Who could you recommend that I connect with? And your family, your friends are going to help you. It sounds like an opportunity. Yeah, I want to tell you. Oh, gosh. In San Antonio, best agent I know is John Doe. Oh, cool, man. Thanks for that info. Tell me, how do you know John? And he's going to say, oh, John, I've bought every piece of real estate since I was old enough to buy real estate from John. He's just been an awesome agent over the years. And man, I really appreciate it. I'm going to reach out to John, and I'll be sure and tell him how much you've appreciated him over the years and so forth. Well, you know what that is now, guys and gals? When you call John Doe, that is a warm lead. It's not a cold call anymore. I'm going to call John and say, hey, John, Tim Hollinden in Louisville, Kentucky. Man, I was just talking to your client, Scott Pewitt. Man, he went on about you for 10 minutes about what an awesome agent you are. You see what that feels to John? I got goosebumps telling John that. Imagine how he feels hearing that. And John's going to take your call. He's going to talk to you because it's about his client, he thinks, at this point.
Mm-hmm.
So he's going to say, yeah, man. Scott said you were the most dynamic agent in the marketplace. Man, that's awesome. Kudos to you. Listen, the reason I'm reaching out to you today, and then you go into the spiel. It's not any different. It's an agent you don't know, but you have a connection, and that connection is Scott. Scott did all the warm fuzzy for me there. All I had to do was repeat what Scott said about his agent that he's used since he was old enough to buy real estate. And this list should be long. I mean, think of all the people you know out of town, your family, your friends, your relatives, your acquaintances, anybody that's not a real estate agent. You know, if they're a real estate agent, they're on number 5. So you've already called them. So these are non-real estate agent friends, family members. You're going to reach out and text them. And this works, does it not, Sean?
I'm just gonna say guys, I didn't have any relationships. That's how I built it. Came up with several hundred names after sending out all those texts and just started calling, feeling more confident because I knew it was a semi-warm call. If I added any one line to it, is in that first 15 seconds how good that relationship is with your third party who gave you the name. I'd always joke around with Bill when we were starting off and making calls, going, I knew on the first 10 seconds almost if the appointment was going to be set or if it wasn't. Because the moment I edified Scott, if all of a sudden Tim went, oh my gosh, I love Scott. Dude, our wives and I, the four of us have traveled together for years, man. He's one of the, you start bragging on you, appointment set, versus Scott, who again? So to give the last, yeah,
Right.
yeah, I think I might remember it. I knew it was more like a cold call. So anyway, I just want to throw that tidbit in. You're looking for all those great relationships and appointments will be set.
And that's why it's so important to ask the question, well, Scott, how do you know John? And then you shut up and let Scott talk. He'll tell you just what he thinks of John. And then you're going to use whatever that is. Any questions on that? That's a little different. It's a warm call, not a cold call. Thanks to your acquaintance. Go ahead, Melvin.
What was the initial statement you made when you first made the call? You're calling a family and friends. What are you initially? You said I have a project I'm working on in your area.
It can be a phone call. I suggested doing a text message because you can be really efficient with it, and you can hit 10 people, 10 text messages every day until you get through your contact list. But it's basically, hey, Melvin, Tim Hollinden, gosh, man, I can't believe it's been 2 years since our last family reunion, or just make some sort of familial or friendly relationship to how you know one another in case it's a distant family member that barely remembers you. Say, listen, I'm trying to grow you probably know I'm in the real estate business in Kentucky, but I'm starting to grow my business around the country. Who is the best agent or best agents that I could maybe reach out to in your market?
Got it. Thank you.
You're welcome. Anybody else? Got one more, guys. You ready for 7?
Oh.
This one's different as well. And somebody that uses this every day and has recruited tons of agents with this methodology is Stephanie Gillison. Number 7 is your Facebook agent friends and your LinkedIn agent connections. Obviously, on your Facebook friends, you're going to be friendly with them. We've had people on here on Mondays before that says, engage with their pictures, their post. Man, great job. Awesome new listing, whatever. Just comment, heart, thumbs up, etc. But as to LinkedIn, don't overdo this because LinkedIn will actually shut you off. I think you're only allowed like 40 new connections a day. But go into LinkedIn and you can search for agents in a market and just start reaching out to them. Do a connection request. When the connection request is accepted, hey, Scott, man, thanks for connecting. Looks like we're both doing quite well in the real estate business. I'd love to connect with you just for 15 minutes on a Zoom sometime, see if you and I could help each other in any way, even if it's just being referral partners. Are you open to do that? If so, click my Calendly link below and book 15 minutes on my calendar in the next day or two. That too is pretty warm. It feels good. And we're going to go back to something I said early on, and that's TMAY. Tell me about yourself. You're going to get on that Zoom. Man, Scott, thanks so much for scheduling. I'm looking forward to getting to know you. Hopefully I can help you. Maybe you can help me too. Let's just get to know each other. So you start. Tell me about yourself. Make sure they start. Tell me about yourself. And again, they could potentially talk the entire 15-minute time. And then they're going to feel guilty at the end. And you don't want to, this call does not want to be longer than 15. Listen, in the intro, we only scheduled 15 minutes. I actually have another call at noon. It's 1:45 now. So let's get started. Thank you again. Tell me about yourself. And they're going to take the majority of that time because you're going to keep asking them more and more and more and more questions relative to what they're saying. 15 minutes is going to be about up. They're going to realize that we're out of time in a few minutes and I haven't gotten to talk yet. And they're going to bring it up somehow, some way, doesn't matter how. Oh, no big deal, Scott. That's okay. We can reschedule for another time, and I'll be glad to reschedule and take my 15 minutes next time. Well, now you have Scott's hot buttons, his biggest pain point, what motivates him because of the questions you've asked, and we can do a whole training on how to interview an agent, what questions to ask at some point too. But that second call, you're going to know what turned Scott on, and you're going to know what the big rocking issue is currently. So I'm going to talk about myself on the next call. I'm going to be brief. It's going to be similar to the bio that Sean read before we started today. And I'm going to get right into it. Listen, I know when we were on our last call, you said, you're really lacking on leads. Tell me more about that. And again, now we're going to start painting solutions that eXp has to answer the problems that candidate has, that prospect has. So that's a pretty warm call too. It feels good. And you're going to reiterate at that point, listen, I don't care if you come to eXp. This is not a recruiting call because I really wanted you and I to get to know each other and hopefully refer some business to one another. But I did recall from our last conversation that you were light on leads, and we've actually got a solution for that at eXp. If you allow me 2 minutes to talk about that, I will. And then you can solve his problem. And the more and more you all get to know each other, the more you solve his problems, the more he's going to say, man, Tim's a pretty good dude. And eXp sounds like an interesting company. My broker doesn't have that solution. And then you can start actually turning it on to more of a recruiting conversation. Again, I always downplay it. I know you're not interested in eXp. You're probably super happy at Coldwell Banker, but if you ever did decide that you're wanting to make a move, this solution that we just talked about and many other things, might be a fit for you. Just keep me in mind, man. I'd love to show you more if you're open to doing that on another call. And if not, that's totally fine. I want to be your second choice. So if you ever do decide to make a move, I want you to call me first. Would you do that? Then you've elicited a verbal promise that, yeah, I'll call you if I ever get disgruntled. And they will. Their broker's going to piss them off. Somebody's going to take a deal away from them. Something happened in the office that's not moral or ethical, and you're going to have a problem with that person, and the broker didn't do anything about it. Now you got a problem with the broker. I mean, I've heard it all. I had an agent join me 3 years ago whose broker had an affair in the office, and she left on principle that wasn't right. So you never know. And this is why you need to stay top of mind. This is why follow-up is important. Because if you call on the right day, there'll be an open mind at some point. So,
I got a question.
Yes, sir.
And you mentioned it a little bit with referrals. Outside of my area, it feels like a conversation that's twofold. One is I'm looking for a referral agent in this area, and two, I'm growing my eXp organization. Have you found it valuable to have both subjects in the introduction so that they see value in one of them?
I do, but I downplay the referral the part of it. That's why I said, who knows? Worst case, we might be able to be referral partners, because my goal is to bring them to eXp if they're open-minded and willing to watch and go through the proper channel. I don't want to say, hey, I'm looking for a referral partner in your area, and turn that into a bait and switch, come to eXp call, because then I look bad. So I always say both, but the other is just who knows? We might even be able to be referral partners. That way it's kind of secondary in my mind and in theirs if we get to the eXp conversation.
That's helpful.
Who else has a question? Got plenty of time for Q&A, guys. Open up. Has this been helpful?
Oh, yeah.
Good. Come on, somebody's got a question.
Anybody want to role play with Tim? He's scary, isn't he?
Tim, David, I just want to say that you did an awesome job. I'm on the way to closing, but I listened to you and get some of the note. Some of this we've been in the training before, but what we've been doing is a practice make it more perfect. So what you're saying is make all sense, and you're doing great. I appreciate everything you did. And I'm using the AI right now. My question is, can I get a video about why they join, what the benefit with joining our group, including you guys in there too? Would that something you think is a good idea to just send out to them first, or just make a phone call first? What do you recommend?
I'd make the phone call first, because you don't want to send something to somebody knowing they're unwilling to receive it. Then it starts out with a bad taste. And thank you for the compliment, David. And if you didn't hear the first thing I said about your pending deals, and to pull that agent aside before the closing, say, hey, man, or ma'am, whoever it is, I really enjoyed this transaction. Glad we're getting it to the closing table today. After the closing, if you got time to go celebrate getting this deal done with me, love to just take you to lunch and get to know you better.
I like that idea too. Thank you.
And don't talk about eXp. Be their friend. It'll come up though.
Tim.
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah. So I'm starting to hear more of, I have pending deals going on. So as soon as they close, y'all be ready, to talk again. I've had some training on how to approach that, but what is your recommendation? Because sometimes it's working and sometimes it isn't working.
I'm just calling the agent once the closing gets scheduled. Say, hey, you probably saw our closing just got scheduled at Mattingly Ford Title a Friday at 3. First, I wanted to make sure you were aware of that. Did you get that email from them? Okay, great. Listen, I've enjoyed working with you, Linda. Let's grab lunch after the closing and just get to know each other better. I'd love to just get to know you and see if I might be able to help you. You might be able to help me. We both do a lot of business in our market. Let's just let's strengthen our relationship.
I'm sorry, my question wasn't clear. I apologize. So talking to a couple of agents, and they have pending deals going on at their company. And
okay.
They're thinking they should wait until those are done. But I asked them if they were open-minded to me, just letting them know how I made the transition when I had deals going on. But how would you handle that objection?
So what I'm hearing, Linda, is you've got some pending sales at your current company, and you don't even want to think about another company at this point. Did I understand you correctly?
Yes, until I get those closed, and then we can talk about me.
I can appreciate that. I had the exact same scenario when I made the move, and I'm not asking you to make the move. I'm just asking you to look at the information. But so then you can close for the appointment again. But another way of doing it is I totally can appreciate that. And the first thing I would do, Linda, I would check your ICA, your independent contractor agreement you signed when you came to Coldwell Banker. Just look at that and see how they handle pending transactions. Because the last thing I would want you to do is make a move and lose any commission. Because although I've had probably 200 conversations like this, and 199 of them, the broker did not take any of their commission, or if they did, it was a very slight piece. Only 1 in 200 times did the broker agreement say, if you leave with any pending deals, they become mine, the brokers. I think that's horrible. I've only seen it once, but tell them, you're telling, I care about you. Check your agreement, see what it says. And what it probably says is the same thing mine says. Those deals are mine. I'm going to show up at the closing after I move to eXp. I'm going to go back and, as if I were still with RE/MAX, and see those clients through to the end. And I'm going to take my paperwork to the RE/MAX office, and I'm going to get paid the same as I always did before. So that goes back to some storytelling.
Okay. I have another question about comparing and contrasting. I'm still, of course, working on skill set like we all are. I'm not at a point though where, like, I have somebody from a company, Berkshire Hathaway, in Colorado, and he started filling out the eXp application about 6 months ago, and then he quit. Then I got him on a call with Kurt Scholl, and that was more helpful. But I talked to him yesterday, and now he wants to get on a call to compare and contrast, because I'm hearing, after asking questions, I'm hearing that would probably be what would take him, to eXp, once he can see how he can be better off financially with eXp. Who would you recommend to help present that? Only somebody in our upline, or?
Great question. Who is in your upline? Which one of the Freedom Team founders are you closest to?
Actually, I'm not. What happened when I was coming on board with eXp a couple of years approximately ago, I was inundated with new eXp agents on my listings, and I had 2 people from KW that left. Neither of them really said much except you ought to think about eXp, and it was real, I don't know what you would say, just kind of brief, and that was the end of it. So if I could have done it over, I would have come on board with the eXp sooner, but I just didn't know what to do. So I was at KW for maybe a year and a half or so. But Sean Kogoska is my sponsor, and Gene Frederick is at the top, but I really don't call on him unless I have like a group, like an independent brokerage, that I'm working with. So, but I'm connected with Eric Orland. Sean is also his coach. But I know Kurt Schewel does that. I've been trying to reach him for several days on work chat. He hasn't responded yet, but I'm trying to set somebody up from KW that wants to compare and contrast also. So I have 2 people that want to do that right now.
Okay. Yeah, I was trying to find if there's one of the founders, that person, because we created a spreadsheet. It's called a broker comparison matrix, where you can plug all their current numbers in, and it'll show them what they're currently making and what they would make at eXp.
Yeah, I do have that from Eric.
Okay.
I just have not used it yet. And Sean, like Eric, and I know he has a different approach. But I really like the relationship building and not trying to get people to sign up immediately. So yeah. So again, they say often to pull on someone, right, that's done it longer or has more experience already, in this case with compare and contrast. So yeah, I'm not.
Well, my overall recommendation, if Eric's given you a tool to use that has a broker comparison matrix, I would continue to reach out to him for that, because I don't know his tool. I only know mine. But the common denominator I've heard you say is Gene Frederick. Gene is phenomenal, and Gene will help anybody, whether they're in his 7 levels or not. And Gene came from KW, and he'll be able to talk to that KW like nobody else can, in my opinion. Sean, you were going to add something. What did you have, sir?
That the corporate, the moment you've had a presentation with somebody, corporate be more than happy to get involved. If somebody wants to do a breakdown comparison, you can get corporate involved. It doesn't have to be an eXp agent. Okay.
Okay, and what is a connection for that?
Jump into the growth department and ask them, who is your local growth leader? You've got a local growth leader in your region. Usually there's 2, 3, 4 of them. And that's what they're there for. Now, they don't want to come from scratch, but the moment you've created interest and they're open-minded and now they're ready for the next step, bring corporate in, they'll do a comparison for you.
Okay, I see what you mean. Yeah, I am in connection with him too. And it's Keith, he was one of our previous brokers in Colorado. I love him. But I have been advised to try to match up certain personalities with other personalities that I'm getting coaching from and assistance from. But I didn't realize Keith and I started communicating this morning about 7:30. So I just, yeah, it seems like I'm getting so close, and then I don't know exactly what's going on. They're not signing up yet, but it seems like I have about 8 of them that are just on the edge of signing up, and I'm
I would get Linda to kind of wrap this up. I know we're at 10:02, and Tim, dude, you're the bomb, bro. That was excellent.
Thank you.
Right now, with those 8 people you have, Linda, right now, I would either reach out to Gene, prioritize those 8 again on who do you have the most, who do you have the best relationship? Who do you have who do you think has the most influence? Maybe
Okay.
those top 1 or 2, see if Gene will give you his Calendly link and set up an appointment with Gene. Other than that, you've been here a while, you know people's stories, right? So of those other 5 or 6, who has a similar story here at eXp? They'd be more than happy to jump on even a 15-minute phone call for a third-party validation, right? Find people with similar volume, similar companies they came from, tenure, whatever it might be. Anyway, that'd be so Gene will definitely help you. Now, again, but he'll give you his Calendly link. I'd take your top 2 biggest ones, have the most influence, best relationship. The other ones, man, reach out to any of us, anyone. Mainly, Sean Kokoska's got a gigantic group, and so is Eric Orland. Or you might even reach out to Eric Orland and go, look, I've got a few other agents. Here's their background. Do you know some other agents who have a similar background if you don't know them? Or, I'm sorry to wrap this up saying, when you come on here, I always tell people, even on a Wednesday, when you come to connect to collaborate, maybe we take a minute, not every time, but learn people's stories. And or the last thing Jeff always says, go to life.exprealty.com, and there's hundreds of stories. That's eXp's website for testimonies and stories. Are you familiar with that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Linda,
yes.
go on there and type in the same brokerage, pull up all those, read some of the stories and see which ones correlate. You might shock yourself if you reached out to that agent you just read the story on, ask if they'd be open in the next week for a 15-minute phone call. I bet you'd be shocked on how many would say, yeah, I'll help you with that.
Good. Okay. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
I'm not pressed for
Tim.
time. If
Thank
anybody
you.
has more questions, I'm happy to hang around for a few more minutes and answer them. So please speak up. Melvin, Jocelyn, Kimberly, Austin, Judy.
I'd like to role play with you on the number 3.
Okay.
Agents and I'll be the agent.
Okay. So this is an agent in our MLS. We probably know each other, but we've not done business.
Yeah.
Okay. Hey, Melvin, Tim Hollinden, eXp Realty. How you doing today, man?
Good. How you doing, Tim?
Fine, thank you. Listen, I was just noticing in the MLS, you've been pretty consistent the last few years. How have you continued to do the same volume in what I consider kind of a down market?
Well, I have a pretty big database. I've been getting a lot of referrals this year.
Yeah, awesome,
More
man.
so.
Keep up the great work.
Yeah, thank you.
Listen, brother, I hope you will take this phone call as a compliment. I'm not trying to recruit you, but I'm curious, has anybody ever shown you eXp's 2024 presentation, and more importantly, personalize it for a man like you that's doing $12 million a year? Dude, that is phenomenal.
Yeah, I have a lot of people that have left my office with eXp, been trying to talk to me about getting involved with that. But I'm pretty much focused where I am right now.
Yeah. Yeah, I get it. Being focused where you are is probably why you're so successful. But did any of those people show you the 2024 model and more importantly, personalize it for your $12 million worth of volume?
No one did. But
Would you? I mean, we're professionals in the same market. I respect you. Hopefully you respect me. Would you do me the favor of just spending 15 minutes just to educate you? I promise you, I'm not going to try to recruit you, but I want you to understand why all those eXp agents that left your company are so excited about it. And I guarantee you, they haven't shown it to you the way I would. Are you open tomorrow at 10:30 or Thursday at noon?
Well, I have good friends that have moved over to eXp, and if I ever made a decision, I'll probably be going with them.
Okay, I respect that. I mean, good friends are important. One word of caution, I will tell you, I've co-founded an organization, and those of you that aren't co-founded, you can say the same thing. I am part of a 3,000 agent organization at eXp called the Freedom Team. I don't know any of your agents are in that or not, but who you choose as your sponsor matters. I'd like to show it to you from a Freedom Team perspective. And if one of your people are with the Freedom Team, I'll certainly respect that and I'll help them show the model to you. But I'd like just 15 minutes of your time sometime later this week. Again, I've got Tuesday at 10:30 or Thursday at noon. Which is better for you?
Sounds good. Thursday at noon sounds good to me.
Perfect.
That's what I was looking for. Thank you.
Good, Tim.
Just keep going back to the appointment, dude. It's about closing. And if they get closed minded, say, okay, dude.
When you talk about the Freedom Team, is different. So, and it is important who you join up with.
It is. And okay. I don't mind putting that in their face.
Okay.
Yeah. I came from Keller, and a whole bunch of my friends went to eXp, and they're all calling me now.
Right.
And
Do
Melvin,
you respect any of them? If nobody's shown it to you, you probably didn't want to give them the time of day. You know, I wouldn't say that, but you know, you can have
Right.
fun with it too.
yeah.
Yeah.
And speaking of the Freedom Team, just all you guys that are still here, just two little tidbits. If you don't know, we're just shy of 10,000 transactions year to date and just shy of 3.5 billion. Just the
Wow.
Freedom Team. So we're like
Wow.
9,878, and that was at the end of November. So we'll get the final number at the end of December, and just under 3.5 million. It's like 3.46 something. Anyway, so just again,
Billions, not
yeah,
millions.
you're saying that little line. Did I say million? Excuse
3.5
me. Yeah, 3.5 billion and just shy of 10,000 transactions. Our group, that's what to be a part of. I put in there earlier, I think it was in here. Yeah, I got this from Eric Orland again, where I put in the 5 different advantages and so forth. But anyway, again, another number that was thrown out. I think it was 197 million have been paid out in rev share this year. Almost 200 million just in rev share. And think about that, guys. 12% of the agents are participating. So 200 million is getting split between 12%. What is that of our 90,000 agents? You guys got me? Follow that for a minute. You want a piece of that. It's got to start, guys, right now, leading into 2025. That's why we do these. I mean, think about that. Could you turn around and just like Eric Golden always says, man, we're going after these agents now next year. You could take 4 of them, even if you haven't attracted one agent, 4 cappers next year. You wiped out your cap. Get 4 cappers at 16,000. You're at 100%. And what if any of them turns into a Tim? What if they decide to go out and build it? Your life will change. Tim, dude, thank you, bro. Sincerely appreciate you jumping on.
My pleasure.
You hit the recording. You know where the recording's at. So if you want to go grab any of it and do any shorts or what have you. But you guys, thank you so much, especially you guys that come every week. That means so much to the new agents that come to see a group of us. And thank you for the interaction and that kind of thing. So again, you guys have an awesome, awesome day. Tomorrow morning, Tim, I'll look it up real quick if you don't know. What is
Building your 2025 strategic business plan with Brian Ellington, Chief Learning Officer at eXp.
You got it. You got it.
It'll be fire.
That guy's sharp, extremely sharp. Okay, guys, hope to see you on there tomorrow. Other than that, thank you very much. Tim, appreciate you as always, man. You guys have a blessed day.
All right. Thank you all. Everybody have a great week.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.